Okay, Jorge, welcome to this webinar as well. I hope you can hear us, see as well, and then I will let you make the presentation and the introduction to our event. Thank you, Jorge.
Thank you so much, Virginia, and thank you everybody for this interesting session of LCBAM. Today we are going to discuss about green energy, and for that we selected some EU companies experts on this field. But before, we are going to have the overview about what is happening in Mexico about green energy in Mexico. So for that purpose, we are going to host Juan Manuel Avila, who is an expert in this field. And also, we really invite you to stay because we are going to have the presence of the EU ambassador in Mexico. So thank you everybody for this attendance, and let's get started with the agenda for today. Okay, we are going to have Juan Manuel, who is going to tell us about the sector overview. We are going to have three interesting e-pitchings with 2G Energy, Lumin, and Solar Cloth. And we are, of course, having a seal award ceremony with the presence of the UE ambassador in Mexico. And finally, a closing remarks. And just to remember, LCBA is an initiative of the European Union community, which aims to promote and participate both sides of the regions, European Union region and Mexico region, but they are not only working in Mexico, they are also working with Canada, Argentina, Brazil, Chile, and Colombia in LCBA LATAM. So with that efforts, we are covering the most important parts of the Americas continent, just directed to promote green tech solutions in different specialties. So the action of LCBA is business-driven initiative to reduce carbon emissions, promote principles of the EU Green Deal, and help the regions on the implementation of the Paris Agreement on climate change. So the value proposition is to start sustainable business growth, aim to lower carbon emission, facilitate international business deals, and for course, supporting the green transition. So this initiative we started on 2020, and we are really close to finish on March of 24. So the benefits and services for EU and Mexican companies on both sides, we promote market intelligence, promote B2B matchmaking, leading integration, to promote this kind of event, virtual event and trade and missions, business support network, and finally, tailored technical assistance, which is part of the technical assistance that LCBA proposed to all the companies as Mexican and UE company. And next, I would like to let Virginia to tell us about technical assistance details.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the welcome, Jorge. So once again, welcome everybody to the session. Technical assistance is really, I would say, the key service that we can offer to support you in your negotiations with a Mexican or European company via the initiative. What it looks like is that if you have a potential partner in mind, so you have identified a technology from the EU that you would like to buy, or you are an EU company that would like to sell your solution to a buyer in Mexico, you can apply for this assistance, which is basically coaching services provided by experts. And some of our companies here today will tell you a bit more about their experience as well. So it's coaching days that are funded by the European Commission, and these experts will then work with you on topics that are key to reaching a commercial agreement. So it can be legal advice, it can be advice on project finance, operations and logistics, and so on. And it's up to 25 days of assistance that we can provide. So if you're interested, we really encourage you to reach out to us. There's an application form in the platform that you need to complete. And once you complete these assistance services, and if you share a copy then of a deal with us at the end, you will also be eligible to receive the LCBA seal, which we are awarding today to one of our partnerships during the session.
Great, Virginia. Thank you so much. And if you have any question about technical assistance, please let us know. We are going to help you to understand what kind of package is suitable for your project. And well, let's pass to the next section, which is the overview of the, before of that, really fast, we discussed this in the previous session. The achievements at glance so far in the implementation of the LCBA program in Mexico is that currently we have a great community, more than 1,000 members, and that effort represents more than 600 meetings, B2B business meetings among European companies and Mexican companies, 26 virtual events, 41 joint business concepts, which represents a huge advance on the climate change initiative, working together Mexican and European companies, and of course, 26 partnerships supported, which means a lot of business, a lot of positive impacts on the environmental landscape in Mexico. And well, we are open to promote a maximum of 35 partnerships, which could be supported by the end of the program. So it's important to take note on that, because I don't see any other initiative which could have these numbers so far, even that all the companies are struggling with the economic issues and other kind of issues that it has stopped the advances on the transition to a better environmental landscape in all the world. So thank you so much for these numbers. We have done that before. We have done that. Thanks for your important support. So now we are going to present Juan Manuel Avila. He's gonna give us some sector insights on green energy. Juan Manuel is the CEO of Top Energy. It's a really important solar company here in Mexico, but also Juan Manuel is president of Coparmex Aguascalientes, which make him a very influential guy, very young and very successful. And well, when you approach to Juan Manuel, he is always talking about green energy. So thank you so much, Juan Manuel, for having here this conversation, and let us know what is the current green energy landscape here in Mexico. Thank you, Juan Manuel. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Jorge, and thanks everyone for joining us today. And I'm really glad to be here. And after this introduction that Jorge made for me, I'm really flattered and honored to be here with you guys. And basically, what we have seen, and this is a short presentation on the market overview, but what we have seen in Mexico in the past 5 years is an evolution towards a decentralized energy model. That being said, as we know, there has been challenges, regulatory challenges in regards to utility scale projects. Therefore, all the new generation that has been pouring into the renewable energy sector has been done through distributed generation. So I don't know if we can show the slides that I sent you guys. Yeah. So this is like the green energy in Mexico, the market overview. And what we have seen, and I want to start with this news outlet. This is a publication by Reforma, if I'm not mistaken, on the fact that there has been several shortages of energy blackouts throughout industrial parks in Mexico. And this is due to the fact of the increase and the continuous increase on energy consumption, and the lack of energy infrastructure and investment that needs to be done in transmission and utility scale projects. So this tells us that we have in Mexico a problem if we just take a picture of the situation. But if we do a broader picture and we zoom out of the picture, this becomes an opportunity. So, for instance, in the month of June, we had a lot of blackouts throughout Mexico. The system was operating under reserve levels, and this happened like 10 times in the month of June. So, basically, this was telling us that we do have an energy situation in Mexico. But then this, as I mentioned, becomes an opportunity because as we can see in other news outlets, the nearshoring phenomena hasn't stopped. And this only tells us that the lack of infrastructure hasn't been deterrent for new investment in Mexico. So basically that tells us we have new investment coming, new power plants, well, not power plants, but factories, industry, new or higher consumption of energy. We cannot provide it, but the forecast that we have as a country is that energy consumption is going to keep on increasing. So what can we do? Well, we need to find solutions, both technical, financial, technological, financial, and regulatory solutions. The first that I want to address is the fact that the technological solution has been solved through solar modules. And this is an industry that has grown throughout the years. We have a compound average growth rate of above 30% for the past 5 years. So there's a technological solution for moving towards cleaner energy by decentralizing the grid and generating your own power. But as we can see, since there's so much need of energy infrastructure that cannot be provided by the grid operator, as we saw in the past slides, then we also have the technological solution on storing our own energy. And that's when we start seeing applications such as battery energy storage systems for peak shaving purposes or fast backup or energy resiliency. And at the end, what we are doing is empowering the user in this energy transition. And the solution also needs to be financed. What we have seen in the past 5 years is more financial players coming into the market because now they understand that there's a business opportunity and that can be financed. Instead of financing big projects that will have regulatory challenges, let's finance distributed generation projects that won't have regulatory challenges. And that's also a solution in the regulatory frame. Work with what you can get a permit. And what you can get a permit right now here in Mexico is distributed generation, where we do have a net metering scheme, where do we have a 1 month, 1.5 months, probably interconnection process. So it's really smooth. I mean, it does have its challenges, but as we will see in the next slide, this is the summary on how distributed generation has impacted the Mexican grid. And as we can see, from the start of 2018, we see a jump in 2019 on installed capacity. We are seeing that in the year 2018, there were 233 megawatts of solar installed or distributed generation, which is mainly solar. And then we see that from these 233 megawatts, we jumped to above 390 megawatts. And if we look at the figures from last year, from 2022, we are above 590 megawatts. So basically, we're doubling the market from 2018 to 2022. It means that this is a technology that has been vetted by users, that has been approved by financial markets. That's why there's also financial solutions. And the results are here. We're seeing more than 50,000 new contracts interconnected per year. These figures are until the first semester of 2023. So as we can see, the first semester of this year, there were 324 megawatts installed and about 32,000 new users. And if this trend continues, we're going to end up the year with above 600 megawatts of installed capacity just for this year, right? So how do we translate this in the cumulative? Well, as we can see, there's 2,954 megawatts of installed capacity. This is almost 3 gigawatts of installed capacity in the whole country, more than 360,000 interconnected systems throughout the Mexican grid. So this is the result that I was telling you about. And now, since we know the opportunity, because this is telling us an opportunity, there's a lack of infrastructure, there's a trend to do distributed generation. We have technological solutions to jump into this business. There's financial solutions to jump into this business. Now, how can we take advantage of this opportunity? And we can see that the opportunity on distributed generation is focused mainly on states that are industry-based. So this tells us that also industrial customers are thinking about distributed generation. They're not relying solely on the grid to do energy transition or their own consumption of electricity. And this is the technological application that was brought to us by LCBA. And as we see in the past slides, so we were talking about how much distributed generation or how many interconnected projects there are in Mexico, how this industry is growing. But this also poses a challenge, who's going to operate and maintain this industry? And in comparison to utility scale projects where there are a lot of solutions for cleaning solar modules and doing the operation and maintenance, for distributed generation, there's a whole new challenge because the rooftops are not the same every time. You cannot standardize the way the installation is going to be. So how do we manage to be efficient while operating and maintaining these assets that we saw in the past slides, more than 2,900 megawatts. I mean, that's almost 3 gigawatts of solar modules that need to be.
Yes, we have around 1 minute left.
Okay. Yeah, I'm closing. So how do we take advantage and how do we manage all this new business and all this infrastructure that has been installed in the past 10 years in Mexico, especially the past 5? Well, with this application that we got to know through LCBA called Solar Clino, this is a cleaning robot that is designed especially for distributed generation. So this is an application that we can use especially for the Mexican industry because we do have a lot of distributed generation. We do have a lot of projects that need to be operated and maintained, and there's a challenge on how to do them, especially in different and difficult rooftops. So our experience, and that's the last thing I'm gonna say, just to conclude and be on time. Our experience using Solar Clino has been a good experience. We have been able to maintain more than 18 megawatts of distributed generation throughout 12 states. And we're able to do this efficiently because this robot can clean up to 4 megawatts per day if we put our minds into it. So it's water efficient, time efficient, fuel efficient, and I think it's the next step for a mature industry because now distributed generation is a mature industry that needs to look into the operation and maintenance side of the industry. So that being said, thank you very much, and well, we'll keep on being here.
Thank you so much, Juan Manuel. Always is a challenge to discuss the overview here in Mexico. You see positive and negative facts, risk, but the conclusion that I get from your presentation is there is some space for innovation and improvement. Thank you so much, Juan Manuel, for this presentation, and I let Virginia to manage the next section. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Juan Manuel, again. So as I was writing in the chat, anyone who's interested to connect with Juan Manuel to know more about Top Energy Solar Clino, feel free to use the chat at your disposal. You can also send us an email as a program. You can use the feedback survey at the end. So raise your hand, and Juan Manuel, you can also jump in the chat and maybe give some answers if there are questions. Now we will pass to the next session of our event, which is a pitch session. So in this session, we will have 3 of our EU SMEs that are currently with the initiative in the renewable energies field presenting to us. So we will start with 2G Energy from Germany, then we have Lumine from France and SolarCloud from France. 3 very different technologies you will see. I will not take away too much because I want you to discover those technologies together with us. For the pitching session, there's a simple rule. Each company will have around 5 minutes to pitch, and then there will be a short Q&A session afterwards, around 3 minutes for each company. Again, we may not have time to address all your questions in the session, but we will download the chat after this event. So we will make sure we answer your questions. The companies will be giving their contact details, so you will have sufficient space to ask your questions, hopefully. So this being said, I would very much like to invite our first company, our first pitcher to the stage, which is Carlos Prieto from 2G Energy. So Carlos, welcome. It's very nice to have you with us. I believe you will be pitching in Spanish, so the floor is yours. I just made you presenter, and whenever you're ready, we can start the time for the pitch. Thank you.
Thank you very much to everyone, and for you, Virginia and Jorge. It's a pleasure for me to be here again. And well, I'm going to switch to Spanish because I think the audience will understand better. So, pueden poner, can you put my presentation, or do I need to share mine?
No, normally you can move through the slides if you use page up and page down on your keyboard, or I can take back and move through for you.
Okay, yeah. That's it. Ok, buenos días a todos, muchas gracias. Gracias por la oportunidad que me han dado. Pues vamos a hablar ahorita de un tema pues muy en línea con lo que venía explicando mi anterior Juan Manuel, ¿no? Anterior ponente. Y vamos a ver cómo el CHP movido con hidrógeno o potenciado con hidrógeno puede soportar los renovables. Entonces, empecemos. Ahí, pongámonos en contexto. El contexto, pues, la visión global que tenemos hoy en día es la sustentabilidad de la Tierra. ¿Y qué ocurre? Que todos los días necesitamos más energía, pero nuestro ecosistema necesita recibir, pues, menos contaminación. Para todo esto, pues, hay una serie de tecnologías e implementaciones nuevas que se están haciendo y hemos llegado hasta el tema del hidrógeno. Voy a hablar muy rápido porque es muy corto el tiempo. Entonces, pues esto es nada más para que tengan una idea en una generación de 250 kilovatios, cómo contamina diésel, cómo contamina el gas natural y cómo contamina el hidrógeno. Pues el hidrógeno termina siendo súper amigable al ambiente, sin embargo el gas natural pues también viene a ser muy bueno comparado con el diésel. En términos de tecnología, pues ¿qué tenemos? Bueno, hablamos de energía centralizada o descentralizada, que le explicó muy bien Juan Manuel, que precisamente pues es eso, movernos del esquema centralizado donde hay muchas pérdidas en el sistema y en transmisión y distribución. Todos sabemos pues las problemáticas pues que tenemos en México con la distribución y transmisión. Y pues la energía descentralizada que precisamente es producir energía en el sitio de consumo, bien con un panel fotovoltaico, bien con un aerogenerador o bien con un cogenerador, pues viene a ser mucho más eficiente y viene a ayudar al sistema entero. Del punto de vista, que es lo que nosotros hacemos, que es cogeneración con motores, pues nosotros podemos usar en un motor que va instalado en el sitio, pues cualquiera de estos combustibles, llegando hasta el hidrógeno, hidrógeno verde, de hecho. Entonces, pues con esto podemos colaborar pues a dar la energía que requieren nuestros clientes y hacerlos también más competitivos, además de reducir pues todas las pérdidas que vienen en el sistema. ¿Quiénes somos en 2G? Pues en 2G somos una empresa fundada en el año 95, tenemos muchos años en el negocio de la cogeneración, siempre hemos estado con motores, fabricamos motores también. Nos basamos mucho en lo que es investigación y desarrollo para lograr los más altos estándares de eficiencia y costos de mantenimiento. Tenemos 11 subsidiarias en el mundo, somos más de 900 empleados y estamos en más de 50 países hoy por hoy. ¿Qué hacemos? Bueno, esta se congeló, pero nosotros básicamente lo que hacemos es una solución como esta, es un contenedor donde ponemos un motor internamente y viene todo integrado, todos los sistemas que vienen a operar la máquina. Tenemos equipos de diversos tamaños. Tenemos motores propios, tenemos motores de otros fabricantes y simplemente con el motor, que al final no hace nada por sí solo, pues lo integramos en una solución completa. Y con equipos OC podemos trabajar con hidrógeno. ¿Cómo funciona el tema del hidrógeno? Bueno, el hidrógeno es algo complementario a la tecnología de los renovables, por ejemplo, a los fotovoltaicos. Están produciendo energía, pero producen energía quizás cuando no la estamos consumiendo. O son fluctuantes, o son cambiantes, son intermitentes. Nosotros lo que hacemos es, el esquema que hemos establecido hoy por hoy en varios países del mundo es, con la energía verde, producir hidrógeno a través de un electrolizador y ese hidrógeno consumirlo en un motor. Nuevamente, esto es muy interesante, tiene muchos detalles, no los voy a ahondar ahora por el tiempo restringido que tenemos, pero sí les puedo decir que ya tenemos equipos operando 100% hidrógeno en diversos países, Dubái, Alemania, Japón, Hong Kong, Canadá. Tenemos muchos países donde tenemos motores hoy por hoy operando comercialmente hablando desde el año 2018. ¿Por qué? Porque en 2013 empezamos las pruebas piloto en Alemania. Es decir, tenemos 10 años trabajando con hidrógeno. Estos son los proyectos que hemos despachado de 2018 a 2023, una lista breve de ellos. Y pues no quería dejar pasar por encima lo que hemos hecho en México. En México tenemos un proyecto, tenemos varios, pero este es uno de ellos, esto está en Querétaro, y pues es un proyecto que trabaja con biogás, que al final del día pues también ayuda al ambiente, y es un proyecto que es de 495 kilovatios, pues para entrar dentro de la generación distribuida, como comentaba mi amigo Juan Manuel, que pues puede ser algo paralelo, puede ser algo complementario para los renovables en este caso. La cogeneración puede ser aplicada en muchas industrias. Y pues por último tenemos diversos esquemas de trabajo o de comercializar o de trabajar con ustedes, de ofrecer nuestros servicios, en donde ustedes pueden comprar un proyecto o nosotros podríamos instalar el proyecto y simplemente venderles energía con ahorros. No solamente energía eléctrica, sino energía eléctrica y energía térmica. Esto concluye mi presentación y pues muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, Carlos. We are almost in the time of the 5 minutes. Very interesting presentation. Tenemos algunas preguntas en el chat. Por ejemplo, hay Jorge Olvera que pregunta, la generación descentralizada es una buena idea, pero ¿qué hay de la legislación? Que sí permite y que no si la energía está controlada por el gobierno.
Bueno, sí, exactamente. Interesante pregunta. Tengo en México 12 años atendiendo diversos proyectos con diversas industrias, diversas empresas. Eh, Hoy por hoy estamos trabajando básicamente con lo que es la generación distribuida. ¿Por qué? Porque, bueno, es la que la ley nos permite hacer un proyecto de energía, no digamos solamente cogeneración, de energía en general, que puede ser fotovoltaico nuevamente, y pues instalar el proyecto sin necesidad de un permiso ante la CRE y tampoco un permiso de interconexión ante el SENACE, que todos sabemos pues que está un poco, van muy lentos hoy en día, se otorgan muy pocos permisos. Entonces, lo que hacemos es basarnos justamente en generación distribuida, es decir, 499 kilovatios para abajo. La diferencia con una cogeneración es que entregamos energía eléctrica y energía térmica, es decir, podemos ir por encima de los 500 kilovatios en el total de energía, aún teniendo 499 kilovatios eléctricos solamente instalados. Entonces, los invito, está muy reducido el tiempo, pero con todo gusto, pues aquí están mis datos de contacto, aquí está mi teléfono celular en México, WhatsApp funciona perfecto. Si gustan, podemos ahondar en esos detalles y yo les puedo explicar qué podemos hacer por ustedes. Gracias por la pregunta.
Muchas gracias, Carlos. Y creo que hay otras preguntas, but we are running a bit short on time, so I would suggest that you can jump into the chat after the session to try and answer, and also we'll collect the feedback after a session for anyone that maybe wants to meet with your company to discuss more in detail. So thank you very much again, Carlos. It was a very nice presentation. And with this, I would say that we will pass on to our next picture. Thank you very much, Carlos. Thank you. Okay, so next up in our session today, we have Thibaut Samson, who's joining us from the French company Lumine. very different technology to what you just saw. Thibaut, it is a pleasure to have you with us today. And whenever you're ready, I just passed you the presenter role and you'll be able to start your presentation.
Okay, thank you. También voy a presentar en español, ya que tuve la suerte de vivir en México los 2 últimos años. Y pues muchas gracias para empezar a Low Carbon por darnos la oportunidad de hacerle conocer las soluciones francesas para energía solar de la empresa francesa Lumin, que está en México desde el 2021. Para empezar, para darle un poquito de contexto, México, según la UNAM, está en el top 5 de los países con mayor irradiación solar. Pero si hacemos el análisis del mixto energético y de las huellas de carbono en el kilovatio hora de electricidad mexicana, vemos que no está tan bien posicionada como está en el rango 99 a nivel mundial. Y pues con las soluciones que tenemos, soluciones solares, les voy a enseñar qué tipo de soluciones podemos proponer en México para mejorar ese rango que depende mucho todavía de energías fósiles como carbono y petróleo. Entonces, Lumin es una empresa francesa, fabricante de soluciones y de sistemas solares autónomos y también conectados a la red eléctrica. Para varios servicios, para empresas privadas como públicas. Podemos hacer iluminación solar pública, alimentar cámaras de seguridad, también dar energía autónoma en sitios aislados y hasta un gran tema que se desarrolla a nivel mundial, que es el tema de la electromovilidad. Y ofrecemos sistemas que captan energía solar gracias a paneles fotovoltaicos, lo almacenamos en baterías y después podemos alimentar todos esos servicios. No solo somos proveedores de un producto, pero también les acompañamos en toda la parte de desarrollo para proponerles un proyecto a medida. Hacemos los estudios, el análisis antes de los proyectos, hasta si necesitan, le podemos apoyar en la parte de instalación, mantenimiento, con los socios que tenemos en México. Pues primero, no solo ofrecemos una energía limpia, pero también económica e inteligente. Por ejemplo, en el caso de iluminación pública, si lo comparamos con un alumbrado público estándar conectado a la red, vemos que el costo de la inversión del producto mismo es un poquito más alto, pero si hacemos todo el análisis con el costo de las obras de la ingeniería civil, vemos que al final el producto sale más barato. Entonces, el retorno de la inversión puede ser directa y también el costo, no tenemos un costo de electricidad, ya que puede ser autónomo, totalmente autónomo de la red, y podemos ahorrar solo para una luminaria, para darle una idea, entre 1,000 y 3,000 pesos mexicanos al año. Entonces, en el peor caso, el retorno a la inversión es de 5 años. También pues es una tecnología reconocida a nivel mundial por el CES, que es el evento de tecnología más grande del mundo cada año en Las Vegas. Y expertos del CES hicieron un análisis con el hecho que si desarrollamos la tecnología de Lumin en todo el mundo, podríamos ahorrar hasta 2.4 mil millones de toneladas de CO2 en 10 años. Y eso pues es un gran logro para enfrentar al cambio climático, ya que una luminaria Lumin es de 2 a 6 veces menos emitidor en CO2 que una estándar. Pues desde el 2014, con la creación de la empresa, hemos instalado más de 10,000 soluciones en todo el mundo, obviamente en Francia y Europa, pero también en otros continentes como África y América y varias islas del mundo en el Pacífico, Caribe o Océano Índico. En las mejores referencias que tenemos la Embajada de Estados Unidos en Benín, en África, por ejemplo, o también estadios, cerca de estadios de la Copa del Mundo en Qatar. Y pues ojalá podamos instalar también cerca del Estadio Azteca, por ejemplo, para la próxima Copa del Mundo. Les voy a enseñar unos videos y unas fotos de instalación que hicimos. Aquí se ve, por ejemplo, la instalación que va a hospedar los próximos Juegos Olímpicos y los deportes náuticos en Marsella, al sur de Francia. También unas instalaciones que hicimos para el Ministerio de Energía de Benino. Y está también cocheras solares para vehículos eléctricos en islas del Caribe, como Guadalupe y Martinica, que está bastante cerca de México. Y ahí pues vemos que no solo ofrecemos un servicio de iluminación, pero también nuevos servicios para los ciudadanos como cámaras de seguridad o también cargadores para vehículos eléctricos, que va a ser una revolución que va a venir en todo el mundo. Y pues en México vamos a inaugurar este año o al inicio del próximo año un proyecto que se llama Alumbrado Inteligente 4.0 en el municipio de General Escobedo, Nuevo León, al norte de Monterrey. Y ahí vamos a instalar más de 100 alumbrados públicos solares para mejorar las condiciones de vida de los ciudadanos y también con el uso de energías limpias, bajar el consumo energético de la alcaldía. Y pues todos están bienvenidos en esta comunidad de low carbon a la inauguración. Les mandaremos más información pronto. Y pues nada más, quedo al pendiente con mi socio César Medrano. Yo estoy en Francia, pero César está en México, en Monterrey, y podemos apoyarles en sus proyectos solares en México. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, Thibaut. Thank you very much for the presentation. We went a little bit over time on the pitching, so I'm afraid we don't have a lot of time left to address questions. We do have one question here saying, if we're interested in cooperating with you, what are the steps that we must follow? I don't know if you quickly maybe want
Sí, pues primero nos podemos hacer una primera llamada o una llamada por WhatsApp y les pongo en contacto con mi socio César y según su perfil vamos cómo se puede hacer el desarrollo de un partnership.
Perfecto, muchas gracias. For the other question, Thibaut, thank you very much for your presentation. You can jump back in the chat as well, be active there. We're launching little polls to collect feedback as well. So we will let you know any additional questions that we received from the audience. And really, I encourage everyone again to use the chat and be active. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, following Thibaut, we have one additional company that will be presenting for us today, which is SolarCloud from William Bordery, who is joining us here today. So, William, it's a pleasure to see you here. I will pass you the presenter role now, and whenever you're ready, we would be very pleased to hear more about your company.
Hello, sorry for this interruption and yeah, what I was saying, first of all, sorry, I will only speak in English. I only speak English or French, but fortunately we have a partner in Puerto Rico that does speak Spanish, so if you need to work with us, it will be able in Spanish. So about SolarCloud. We manufacture in France thin film photovoltaic modules. So you can see in the small video, which is panels like that, ultra flexible, made with CIGS cells, so not silicon. And it is an alternative to conventional panels when those are no longer relevant in terms of weight, reactions to heat, shadow, dust, vibration, shocks, etc. You will find some example to understand that. And as you can see on this slide, it's extremely thin, only 1 millimeter thick and 1.4 kilo weight. And we have some backup with Solar Impulse, French Fab, and Cap Energies. We started to implement our solution within boat sales. So we are the first one to do that because just behind me, we have a boat sail manufacturer for really big yachts. And we still have the two companies to keep the know-how in the textile industry. About the panel itself, it's as much powerful as a conventional panel, but it's much thinner, lighter, and can have any shape or fix to any surface. The point is really to be a complementary product when you cannot choose a conventional panel. It's also unbreakable in terms of solidity because you can even pierce the panel, it will still work. and it has an ultra low carbon footprint at 15 grams of CO2 per kilowatt hour, and we have the same lifespan of conventional panel. Our competitive advantage, of course, are the weight-power ratio, as I said, the shock, dust, and shadow-proof aspect, the heat resistance. We better capture indirect sun rays, so the panel will start to work earlier in the day and later in the day, and no micro cracks if the panel has to handle vibration on a vehicle, on textile, on a similar surface. And this specific point, and specifically the second one, is really a safety aspect, because compared to silicon, we have much more bypass diodes within the panel, which allows us to have a protection versus heat points and other conventional issues. About our markets, I will go really fast. You can find it on our website, but I will give you some examples. We worked on textile surfaces. So here is a picture of tents, but we also have a big project upcoming for the Olympic Games in Paris 2024. So we will be in a metal textile building fixed on the textile roof. We also have upcoming project on textile facade, on the parking and similar. We are also installed on greenhouses. So inside greenhouses or outside greenhouses. Again, for each project, it's a custom-made solution. So on the left, as you can see, it's a foldable system. And on the right, we will have photos at the end of the year on the greenhouse that will be equipped in Cannes. We just created a custom-made panel at the exact size of the glass roof to make it compatible with the greenhouse without impacting the structure. We are also in the transportation industry. We installed our panel on Renault Volvo trucks, so we are an official supplier of Renault Volvo trucks, in addition of the military division Arcus. And we are also working with a major manufacturer of truck trailers, which will be unveiled later in 2024. So we are going to start the test really soon. And we are also part of what's called France 2030, so 2030. The point is to work on the vehicle of tomorrow, on the truck of tomorrow, on the car of tomorrow, with our solution implemented within these vehicles. We are also working on buildings, of course. On many buildings, in fact, we are the solution when you cannot put a regular panel. So customers come to us when they have issues about structure. When you cannot put the panels on the roof, it can be on the facade, it can be on a textile surface added to the building, or other project. For example, we are going to equip our solution at the Nice Airport Business Terminal, which is a structure really light and it cannot handle conventional panels. So it has to use a really, really light panel. About our credibility, we have numerous labels and awards, and of course, customers. So here's a small example, of course, but we are backed up by the government. The Solar Impulse, ADEME is a French organization linked to the environment. Cap Energy is a competitive cluster about the environment too. And as you can see with the customers, we are in many businesses, from buildings, tents, greenhouses, the energy with the ADF and vehicles. And again, about the credibility, we are ready for mass production because we recently finished our new production room. So we are ready to scale up. And about the future, we are already working on the cells of tomorrow, because right now the cells we are working with are coming from the USA and the rest of the panels is coming from Western Europe. But tomorrow the cells will be from France, and the target is to go from 17 to 25% efficiency in less than 4 years. And you have to know that right now, this technology we are working on is already at 27% efficiency in laboratory. So we are more than confident to reach this target of 25% within 4 years. Thank you very much, and gracias.
Thank you very much, William. We were close to the 5-minute mark as well. I will once again launch a little poll on the side for anyone who's interested to express interest in meeting with William and discuss a little bit further.
I saw a question about the distribution. Yes, we don't have any specific contract in Mexico. We have partners in Puerto Rico, but no specific contract for the country of Mexico. So yes, we could discuss about that.
Okay, perfect. And let me see from the chat if there is any other questions. I don't think we have any questions at this stage. So again, thank you very much for your presentation, William. It was very interesting, and I hope with these solutions that we've seen today, we can really impose some more green transition projects in Mexico. So feel free to use the chat. We will collect everybody's feedback, everybody's questions after the session as well. And we will follow up after the event. So thank you very much, William, for your time with us today as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. With this, we are entering the final session of today's event, which is the LCBA Seal Award Ceremony.
Thank you very much. So, good morning to Mexico from Germany. Unfortunately, you'll have to put up with my English as well, as my Spanish is very limited at the moment. But our current partners in Mexico, Turbo Control, they're with us here as well, Mr. Sergio Herrera. And if there are any further questions in Spanish or to get in contact with them in Mexico, I'm sure Sergio is more than I have his full confidence to go ahead and answer them on my behalf. So just to introduce ourselves a bit in the beginning here, my name is Harris Fianos, and I'm doing business development for the Americas for industrial solar. Industrial solar, we're a solutions provider for sustainable process heat for industries. And we meet that particularly with our flagship technology, the Fresnel collector. Now, this is a technology that our managers have developed. They have optimized in Fraunhofer Institute, Europe's largest solar energy institute here in Freiburg, which is why we're still based here in Germany. And with this technology, we're using it to address the growing market of solar process heat, especially within that mid-range capacity from 100 degrees up to 400 degrees. So to quickly explain what this Fresnel technology and what is its unique selling points, essentially the Fresnel collector is a uniaxially tracked collector, which consists of 11 mirrors rotating individually and independently to refocus the solar light to the receiver. Now, the receiver consists of an absorber tube, which you can see in the diagram above, enclosed by a secondary mirror in order to improve the efficiencies and minimize the losses. With this absorber tube, we're able to, this is the main reason we're able to achieve temperature up to 400 degrees Celsius. And with pressurized water, we can also achieve up to 120 bar pressures. Normally above 200, 250 degrees, we'd start recommending to use thermal oil, however, due to the pressure and the efficiencies of the system. And also worth mentioning is that it's a modular solution that we can tie in strings. Here you can see 3 modules set up. We'd normally start from about 12 to 24, and depending on the site constraints. And with regards to size and capacities, there are the nominal capacity we like to, the minimum is about 500 kilowatts, in which case the economies of scale starts to come into effect. The advantages that that the Fresnel collector has to its competing technologies, most notably the parabolic trough, comes down to the industrial limitations. So, for example, whereas most of you who are familiar with PV systems, a lot of the losses are due to the shading factor. And by breaking up the mirror into 11 uniaxially tracked mirrors, we're able to actually make use of, to reduce that shading factor up to 65% efficiencies. Because of the A-frame as well, that you can see in the images below, we also have a low wind load, operating up to 100 kilometers an hour and withstanding wind speeds up to 180 even. These two factors coupled in now with the even weight distribution of 27 kilograms per meter square makes it an ideal technology that is actually could be installed on rooftops, which is a huge constraint when we're looking at industrial applications where space is really a limiting factor, and there's a lot of industrial hangars or cemented flat roofs, which we try to make use of. So moving on now to our LCBA story. Well, we've met our local partner Turbo Control. We have a pre-existing relationship with them, and they managed to find us a project in Cuernavaca with Unilever. And so on their roof system here, we're now currently in the process of doing the EPC of a 276 kilowatt Fresnel collector. And this will actually, what it serves to be is actually the first commercially operational Fresnel in Latin America. So for technical reasons, Turbo Control now are the project owners, and they have subcontracted us for the EPC works, where their expertise and local know-how is also playing into a big effect. And we hope to have this system installed and commissioning by the end of Q1 in 2024. So whilst we were onboarded in 2021, throughout 2022, Turbo Control managed to find this project for us, and we brought them on board the LCBA in order to make use of the technical expertise from both sides. So where we provide our technology, Turbo Control provides all localization efforts. The three experts that we selected was one within Mexican EU law. We managed to we submitted our contract. They had reviewed it very extensively and given just extra points where something we perhaps have missed out on. They also summarized legal documents where we could actually make use of tax exemptions, so we're not paying double taxes, for example. With regards to project financing, this was more they got more in touch with our partners Turbo Control so that we could actually review the options for co-financing funding if there was any feasibility to actually set up an SPV in the region, but more looking forward for project expansion. And the final one was another expert within operations and logistics. This expert put us in touch with their customs officer, their contact, and together now with Turbo Control and the expert's customs contact, we're understanding the nature and where we can, reduce or make use of, let's say, the custom fees and the import and exports fees as well. So we've benefited over the past couple months. The project is currently ongoing. We hope to be starting in January and finishing by March, April. And yeah, we look forward to continuing further operations and further projects in Mexico. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Harry, for your presentation. I think we received a couple of questions as well following your presentation here. Once again, I will also launch a small poll. So anyone who is interested to follow up with Harry for the solution for the project you're currently implementing, please feel free to express your interest in the poll via the poll at the bottom. And we also start sharing our feedback surveys of the event, through which you can contact any company, express your interest to contact any of the companies that presented with us today. So we have with us Javier Arribas from the delegation. Javier, it is a pleasure to have you join us. And we are very happy to see that we managed to establish a connection. Can you hear and see us?
Yeah, hi, I think that finally we managed. Yeah. Yes. So I see myself. I'm here. So, well, thank you very much for this excellent event. I'm speaking here on behalf of the ambassador, who was just here until a couple of minutes ago. but unfortunately, we couldn't manage to get the connection running, and but finally we did it. So here we are. The ambassador unfortunately had to go to another important meeting, so he gave me the privilege to speak on his behalf. Well, first, I would like to we would like to thank the next event. Also, would like to thank European companies who pitch their solutions. Your clean tech innovations are the driver of the work we do with the low carbon and circular economy business action in Mexico. And finally, thank you to all the audience, as we can only achieve the objectives of this action if Mexican companies, of course, are interested and willing to implement EU technologies. As many of you know by now, the low clean tech solutions of European small and medium-sized companies in Mexico. The action is also being implemented in Canada and in Argentina, Brazil, Chile, and Colombia. This business-driven initiative aims to reduce carbon emissions, promote the principles of the EU Green Deal, and support the implementation of the Paris Agreement on climate change. To achieve this, we offer a range of tailored support services and tools to EU SMEs and Mexican buyers in sectors with high sustainable impact. Services include market intelligence, matchmaking facilitation via an online platform, virtual events, and technical assistance. Technical assistance consists in coaching provided by experts to selected high potential EU-Mexican partnerships on topics such as project finance, legal advice, feasibility analysis, and more, with the aim of accelerating commercialization. Since the start of the initiative in September 2020, we have achieved very good results, and today over 1,000 members are registered to the LCBA Mexico platform. Over 660 online meetings have been conducted, and close to 30 virtual events and one in-person event in Mexico have been organized. As a result, 41 joint business concepts have been signed between EU and Mexican companies and supported via technical assistance. However, we are confident that we can achieve more. With the initiative ending in March 2024, this is your last chance to benefit from our services. So register to our platform and reach out to the team today to support your partnership, and let's drive the green transition together. For this session, we are honored, I'm honored on behalf of Ambassador Mignot, to introduce the LCBA seal. This seal is an insignia awarded to legally binding partnerships that form via the seal. It certifies that the project conditions assessed throughout the program, such as its positive environmental impact. The LCBA seal is a way of recognizing the efforts and steps taken by companies which are part of this initiative towards a more sustainable future. It represents a vision of a sustainability pathway based on continuous improvement and shared responsibility between companies. And for this event, we are very pleased to award the LCBA seal to a very special partnership that we supported over the past months. With us today are Harry Sayanos from German company Industrial Solar and Sergio Herrera from the Mexican company Turbo Control. The two companies signed an agreement for the supply and installation of an innovative solar collector to produce sustainable process steam and at the site of a large commercial client in Cuernavaca, Mexico. The project will help reduce the client's CO2 emissions by 206 tons a year and close to 5,000 tons in the system's lifetime. Harry and Sergio on behalf of Ambassador Mignot, congratulations again on this achievement, and we are pleased to present your official LCBA seal certificate. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Javier. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for reminding the impact of this action and this partnership specifically that we are celebrating today. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you to Harry again as well. I hope you will use this seal to promote your partnership, your project, your company, the impact you are achieving in Mexico. And we really encourage any other partnerships that are in discussions to take on our services, to make it work, to reach commercialization, and to hopefully together impulse the green transition in Mexico with this. So thank you very much again for joining us today. With this, we have already reached the end of the session. On a logistical level, we just want to remind you that we have feedback surveys that I mentioned earlier that we kindly ask you to fill in to let us know your opinion on the event. Let us know any companies you would like to meet again. Also what we could improve on our end for future sessions. So thank you very much for everybody joining us. Please take a moment to fill in the feedback surveys. And Jorge, maybe I will leave it to you for a final note on the event.
Yes, the final note is to reach out us about the interest that you have in some of the companies. If your challenge is not listed in the companies who joined with us, we can find another solution. We currently have more than 330 European companies, which offers a lot of technologies, not only in green energy or energy transition, but in weather treatment, green buildings, green mobility, and so on. So thank you so much. And we are going to have the final session of this year on October 19. Please get connected with us. We are going to discuss about hydrogen, which is a deal breaker in the current landscape on energy transition. So thank you so much for all of you. And well, I don't know, Virginia, I have missing something.
No, I think with this, we're reaching a closing of the session. So thank you again so much to Javier Rivas, to the presence of the European delegation in Mexico at the event today. It really shows the importance of the program for the EU, for Mexico, the impact we're trying to achieve. Thank you to our companies, Carlos, Thibaut, William, Harry. Thank you to our expert, Juan Manuel Avila, as well. And we hope to see you all very soon at our future LCBA events.
Thank you all. Thank you, Javier.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Gracias.
Bye-bye.